Hi, this is Paul Ballard with Wintellect Dev Center. We're here today with N. Taylor Mullen, the Imagine Cup winner for Windows Phone game design, who's now working for the ASP.NET team on MVC and Razor. Welcome, Taylor.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
So tell us, what is ASP.NET vNext?
It is our interpretation of, in the past, we've always felt that we've given the best first-class experience, and we've wanted developers to kind of embrace that and only embrace that. So what do I mean by that? Visual Studio. It's been tied down. You do ASP.NET development only on Visual Studio because that was the best place to do it in our mind. With vNext, we're taking a step back and we're saying people like to use more than Visual Studio. They like to use Macs. They like to use Linux. So it's this really broad concept of we're trying to embrace all these technologies that are in the community and say it's okay to use those. You can work on Mac. You can work on Linux. You can work in Sublime. You don't have to use Visual Studio. If you want to, we feel it's the best first-class place to do it, but we're not requiring you to do that anymore. So I think vNext is, I guess the best way to explain it is take what you want and only what you want, and don't be forced to do anything you don't want to.
Okay. So with ASP.NET tools and features changing so quickly, how do enterprise developers keep up?
Oh, so that's an interesting thing. So this whole concept of take what you want. We're taking this to the next level where developers in the past, they've been tied down to a specific environment and scared to upgrade because they're scared everything around them is going to break. So a developer will be developing on their own box and they'll be running, say, ASP.NET 4.5. Now they'll be pushing a production environment which may not have the exact same version of .NET in their production environment. That's a big problem because you're working in one location, working on some framework, and then pushing something that's completely different. And this is a huge reason why things fail all the time. You push, and explosions happen. You have no idea why, and it's a really pain in the butt way to figure out, oh, shoot, it's exploding because there's something different in my production environment. And it just makes sense because from an IT perspective, you want to keep your production environment as stable as possible. So with vNext, we're saying that's not good anymore. So we've made it so you can actually ship the runtime, like basically on a USB. When I give my talks, I will typically do a demo where I'll build the entire application from basically from the ground up, and say, all right, you know what? We're going to take a step back. We're going to push this to a USB, and then I'll invite someone on stage, and I'll just use their laptop, and we will showcase their laptop running the latest stuff without them ever having touched vNext. So this is kind of what we're going for. We're going for side-by-side runtime deployment where what you work on your box is truly what is going to be running in the new world. So it should make upgrading less terrifying, I guess. Like, people should want to upgrade faster because they know that what they're going to be developing on their box is what's going to be pushing out to their servers and what they can expect to see in their final environment. To kind of do one last note on that, we're trying to keep things conceptually compatible. So in MVC, we have changed a ton of stuff. It's something very near and dear to my heart. We started off and we're like, all right, we're going to change the world. We're going to redesign this from scratch. We realized, you know what? Maybe redesigning from scratch is not the best approach to do this. So we said, you know what? Let's keep the same concepts. It's sold. It's worked great in the past. There's no reason why not to keep those same concepts and push forward with this so developers can build what they know and just happen to use really cool technology.
So why is Microsoft making ASP.NET vNext open source?
Oh, so this is one of these new trends that's happening. Everyone wants to have access to the source code because, one, it improves for a better product. If we're now under the eye of the community, we can't just push really bad code. That's not acceptable. I'm not saying we did that in the past, but the bar for actually getting code in and making it work is much higher now. Because typically what you do, it's gonna be pushed out for the community to see. Not to mention, with it being open source, we'll know right away if we're doing something wrong. So if everyone in the company feels like doing feature A is the right feature to do, it's gonna revolutionize the world. And then we hear this huge outcry from the community saying, what in the world are you thinking about? We basically know right away. So I think going open source is one of these really large steps from Microsoft where we can get feedback right away from consumers to make sure that once we do kind of go v1.0, we push it and we release it, it is it's just a product that no one can hate. Everyone loves it. It's fantastic. It's been through the cycles. It's been out forever. And more importantly, the community can contribute to it. So they feel like there's no longer this black box of what's inside. I have no idea what I'm working with. It was given to me. I might as well just use it. You can go see all the source code. You can figure out what exactly is happening, not only to make our product better, but to make our developers who use our product better at using our product.
One of the big features of ASP.NET vNext is SignalR and bidirectional communication between the client browser and the servers. How do you see that changing the landscape of web development in the future?
So right now, people want information quick, and they want it right away. And the typical scheme for websites and web development is you make a request and you get a response back to the server. And it's client to server, client makes a request, server sends something back. That's no longer cutting it. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have a ton of information flowing to us every single day, and Twitter and Facebook, they push information to us. They say, oh, I have a new tweet for you. Here's your tweet. We want information now and we want it quick. And by having SignalR, which enables this type of functionality, at least for .NET, it revolutionizes the possibilities of what you can do with your website. You're no longer limited to, oh, I need to refresh my entire page in order to get any new information. The server can tell you when there's new information available. It's a new change. It's a new way of thinking. And I think a lot of movement has been around asynchronously pulling down assets from your website server as your page is loading to make it so you have a better user experience, because we're under this assumption if we ask for something, we want it instantly. So SignalR just kind of makes this even better, where you don't even have to ask anymore. We tell you when it's there.
As ASP.NET vNext comes out, there's also a movement or more movement being done in JavaScript frameworks. How do web developers balance the logic requirements of server-side versus client-side frameworks? So server-side ASP.NET MVC, client-side frameworks like AngularJS.
I actually think it's fantastic. MVC is always going to be there. It's going to be a great way to interact with your C# server. Client-side can only do so much, as the honest truth. Meaning, if you're building an application on your client, you want to make sure that the client control, say, the visual feeling and the information that you're retrieving. The client doesn't want to, say, jeopardize the server. So you want to maintain this barrier between what is truly server-side code. Meaning, I don't want you to have my credit card information. I'd like that to be on the server, and I wouldn't want that floating around the client. So there's still a need there to have server-side communication. And we're just making that easier. We're making that better. We're making it so using these things alongside of things like AngularJS for client-side frameworks is becoming easier, faster, better, and the integration is getting better than it ever has been before.
Okay, thanks for taking the time to talk to us today.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a pleasure.